Hey everyone, Hummingbird027 here. How are all you lovely people doing today? So, sorry I've been out of the loop for a week or so. It is the season for spring cleaning, which comes from Passover and the week of unleavened bread, when Yahweh led the children of Israel through the desert and out of Egypt and save them from their sin. Egypt represents sin, so I have been cleaning all the sin out of my life. Except for yesterday when I came home and there's this 3-foot berm in front of my driveway, and I did not say such good things, and I do apologize for that. But, folks, it's that time again. Have a few short stories I want to talk about today. Playing U.S. politics, Saudi Arabia targets Middle America amid Washington chatter about future of the U.S.-Saudi relations. The kingdom has launched an unprecedented public diplomacy campaign to marshal businesses and grassroots support beyond the Beltway to counter anti-Saudi sentiment in the Biden administration and Congress. To do so, the Saudi embassy in Washington has hired a lobbying and public relations firm headquartered in America's heartland rather than the capital. So the Iowa-based Larson Shanahan, Slifka Group, it's the LS2 Group, has been contracted for $126,500 a month to reach out to local media, business, and women's group and World Affair councils in the far-flung states. The LS2 Group is saying, we are real people who tackle real issues. So the embassy spokesman, Fahid Nazar, told USA Today in an email that we recognize that Americans outside Washington are interested in developments in Saudi Arabia, and many, including the business community, academic institutions, and various civil society groups, are keen on maintaining long-standing relations with the kingdom or cultivating new ones. So, deeper into the article, false president Joe Biden criticized Saudi Arabia during his election campaign in stark terms, calling the kingdom a pariah. Since coming to office, he has halted the sale of offensive arms to Saudi Arabia that could be deployed in the 6-year-old war in Yemen. The interesting part of this is the report is $24 billion in U.S. exports to Saudi Arabia in 2019 alone, $3.1 billion of which were arms sales, and supported 165,000 jobs in the U.S. So I'm thinking that we're seeing some interesting prophetic things, a prophetic buildup, I should say, from Ezekiel 38 and 39 right here. It all talks about the lands of Tarshish, that everybody stands back and watches as this terrible war rages on, especially in Ezekiel 38, beginning with verse 10. Basically, thus says the Lord Yahweh, it shall happen in that day that things shall come into your mind, and you shall devise an evil device, and you shall say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. This is Israel after the Isaiah 17 war. I will go to those who are at rest, who dwell securely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates, to take the spoil and to take the prey, and to turn your hand against the waste places that are now inhabited, and against the peoples who are gathered out of the nations, who have gotten livestock and goods, who dwell in the middle of the earth. This is the interesting verse, 13. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions of it. So this is, in my humble opinion, and many other Bible prophecy scholars believe this is Saudi Arabia, and the merchants of Tarshish, meaning England and all the young lions of it, and could even be thought of as America. shall tell you, have you come to take the spoil? Have you assembled your company to take the prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away livestock and good, to take great spoil? So instead of helping Israel or participating in this buildup to World War III or Gog from the land of Magog's war, basically everybody sits back, and this is why Yahweh will intervene to save his people during the Gog war. So in light of this article, that it's very strange that Saudi Arabia would choose the middle of America, like the Bible Belt, to start their little campaign to start trafficking guns or something. You know, this is kind of weird. I see a lot of conflict of interest, not just between Washington and the whole Bible Belt. I do see some frustration coming in here when religions start clashing. So Islam would be clashing with Christianity at that point. Whatever's left in the Bible Beltway of Christianity, which that is all fading fast, unfortunately, as the church descends into this Laodicean spirit found in Revelation chapter 3. Lazy Laodiceans. It's quite possible that this infiltration into the Bible Belt is a strategic military operation by Muslims in order to introduce Sharia law into the Bible Belt. So folks, yeah, got to keep your eyes and ears open for that. Also, other news, U.S. Navy is heading to the Suez Canal to assess the stuck container ship that has failed refloating attempts. This thing is stuck. As large as this massive ship has been, it has redirected all of the traffic to around the Horn or Cape of Africa, because nobody can get through the little canal now that it's being blocked by this super tanker. And so we're going to probably start seeing a lot of items not making it to our shelves, not to mention the prices of food and products are probably going to start skyrocketing. I don't know about you, but I seem to buy less and less for much, much more every time I go to the store. So I hope you all are working very hard to find seeds, if you don't already have them, scavenged away, and make sure that you are planning this spring to start growing your own food and to learn how to preserve it by drying it, vacuum sealing it, freeze drying it, putting it in a deep freezer, whatever you guys need to do. Canning, learn how to can and jar your products so that you can live off of these food products when things are just going to become way out of control. Getting back to the topic of infiltration, China's extensive infiltration of U.S. virus research laboratories. The technocrat mindset in China believes that any existing technology, no matter where it's developed, is fair game for them to take and appropriate. For this reason, much of China's tech development was quietly stolen from the United States. This is a must-read article. I provide that link, Technocrat News, in the description box below. It began in the 90s as a trickle of Chinese military scientists trained by the People's Liberation Army and arriving at U.S. universities and research institutes. So, via the scientific exchange equivalent of chain migration, U.S. virus research programs were flooded with scientists from communist China, where Chinese scientists already working in the U.S. invited close colleagues to their laboratories. Thus was created the pocket of U.S.-based de facto Chinese research programs linked to the Chinese military, much of which was directly or indirectly funded by the U.S. government. Did you know, taxpayer, that you were funding all of the COVID research and superbug creation to be released on the whole earth? So in essence, in this article, China has basically colonized U.S. virus research programs, colonies that were financed by U.S. taxpayers, likely amounting to billions and billions of dollars. This is a must-read article for anybody interested. And speaking of China, Myanmar deploys AI in a stunning China-style digital dictatorship. It's been warned for years that China is aggressively exporting its technocracy to other countries in Asia and beyond. Myanmar, formerly Burma, is being supplied with Chinese technology to crush dissent and establish a scientific dictatorship there. So now they are unveiling facial recognition technology. And some human rights groups are saying that this artificial intelligence is to check citizens' movements who pose a serious threat to their liberty. More than 200 people have been killed since Nobel Peace Prize laureate Suu Kyi, I believe their name is, sorry if I butchered that, was overthrown in February 1st coup, triggering mass protests that security forces have struggled to suppress with increasingly violent tactics. So security forces have focused on stamping out dissidents in cities, including the capital, and where hundreds of CCTV cameras are being installed as part of a drive to improve governance and curb crime. So basically, Human Rights Watch says this is massive heightened concern. They're concerned that the AI technology that they're using to scan faces, vehicles' license plates in public places, they say that they're using them to find those on the wanted list, but as some gentleman, Wen Peng Meyang, has said, we believe the police and the military are using the system to track down demonstrations and protest. It's like a digital dictatorship. The regime is using technology to track and arrest its citizens, and this is dangerous, he said. So getting into the Great Reset and that it hasn't gone away. I know that people got really excited about it when it first came out and started talking about it, but right now they're silently and quietly and speedily bringing this to pass. Next article from technocracy.news in the description box below. Nation's largest ag opportunity zone gets AI and blockchain makeover. Core Scientific, a leading infrastructure and software solutions provider for AI and blockchain, announced it will provide innovative blockchain and AI solutions to the $314 million agricultural technology campus in Early Branch, South Carolina. I didn't even know that was like a city. Early Branch. The high-tech agricultural campus is both the largest agricultural investment in the history of South Carolina and is the largest agricultural investment in the federal qualified opportunity zone. So this Core Scientific is located somewhere between Charleston and Savannah. The agricultural technology campus is in joint venture with Mastronardi Produce, Clearwater Farms, and Lidestri Food and Drink. The GEM Opportunity Zone Fund, a private investment firm focused on impacting investing, will build and own all the facilities on the campus, which include greenhouses, a distribution center, and co-packing facilities. So folks, I just want to put in my little 2 bits in here. You can read the rest of the article yourself. This is a technocratic deception to plunder America. So opportunity zones provide massive tax shelters for the super rich, and they provide the gateway to turn and take over surrounding areas in the process. The AG sector is targeted for complete domination right now, as we see all of the shady deals going on underneath. I mean, we're watching Impossible Burger. That was a big thing. Now, Taco Bell and KFC and all of these people are signing up to change the formulas and their menu options to where they're going to start introducing all of this fake food on the market. And this is just the biggest step I have ever seen towards transforming an entire country. And it's not just us, it's all the nations of the world entirely transforming from the food that you grow till the time it gets on your plate is going to be totally different than we've been raised. I was Midwestern girl, yes, barefoot and running around in the grass, getting burrs in my feet, which hurt like heck. Anyway, so I was grown up on meat, potatoes, and veggies. That's what it was. They're not looking to transform anybody's tradition as far as how you eat and it's what you are going to be consuming. And there is a huge push right now to start putting fake 3D printed meats into you. And synthetic things never have gone good in the past with organic life forms. So I'm just saying right now, this is such new technology. If you're putting that into your body, just imagine 10, 20 years down the road, what that's going to be doing to our genetic structure in our physical bodies. All right, for another article, this is not really an article, it's several different articles, some of them with basically peer-reviewed research, and those links are in the description box below. Some of them come out of ResearchGate, which you've got to be a member to join. I don't know how you go about doing that, but I was able to join them when I was in college, so it was free for me, of which I am still a member. So I'll provide those links in the description box below. Hopefully you'll be able to access some of those, but we need to really focus on all of these changes that are being made behind the scenes that mainstream Jokia will never tell you is happening, obviously. Biden team prepares $3 trillion in new spending for the economy. So a pair of proposals would invest in infrastructure, education, workforce development, and fighting climate change with the aim of making the economy more productive. So their stated goal is for the $3 trillion package, that's with the T, folks, is to boost the economy, reduce carbon emissions, and narrow economic inequality, beginning with the giant infrastructure plan that may be financed in part through tax increase on corporations and the rich. So the giant infrastructure plan is the focus of this New York Times link I am giving to you guys in the description box below. What is being talked about here is human infrastructure, and I've never heard about this myself. So one research paper I would like to draw your attention to is the ics.uci.edu link in the description box below. What's very interesting is it has a tilde sign G mark. Okay, just saying, you guys know who I'm talking about. I know that means this is from Gloria Mark, who is from the University of California, who's the Bren School of Information and Computer Sciences. But I'm just saying, it's got the word mark in it. It's kind of creepy. So the abstract of this paper is, despite the rapid proliferation, there has been little examination of the coordination and social practices of cyber infrastructure projects. We use the notion of human infrastructure to explore how human and organizational arrangements share properties with technological infrastructures. We conducted an 18-month ethnographic study of a large-scale distributed biomedical cyber infrastructure project and discovered that human infrastructure is shaped by a combination of both new and traditional team and organizational structures. Our data calls into question a focus on distributed teams as the means for accomplishing distributed work, and we argue for using human infrastructure as an alternative perspective for understanding how distributed collaboration is accomplished in big science. So these projects that are being planned to cultivate human infrastructure, these groups in this research paper are going to be developed to really just pull in from the scientific community all of the information, human-based, and coalesce that and to collaborate with the cyber infrastructure. And so basically they're creating a huge brain. I mean, this is just what I see. They are creating a huge brain. This could actually be the starting work of the beast system. Like, in a nutshell, I don't know. This paper is kind of creepy. This could be the very beginning of the beast system where one hive mind is going to be used. So a lot of the human studies that are going to be done are going to be based in MRI machines. These are going to be experimentations done on people and the brain. This is the brain initiative that Obama started during his office. He started the Brain Initiative and he poured money into this. This is it on fast track, folks. To really give you a visual of how this is actually being structured, there is an article, dl.acm.org, in the description box below that shows a graph of the human infrastructure of cyber infrastructure, where it breaks everything down into human-centered computing, collaborative and social computing, collaborative and social computing theory, concepts and paradigms, and computer-supported cooperative work. And then on the other side, it's all implied information, applied computing, applied science, and applied medical sciences. So all this information is just being pooled into this huge conglomeration, and I'm just going to call it what I believe it is. It's a brain. I mean, this is the AI brain. It's literally sucking information out of the entire world around us. So I'm just going to wrap that up briefly. I'm going to be watching this like a hawk because this has really got some telltale signs to how they're going to start maneuvering human beings. Once you give somebody a bunch of knowledge, what are they going to do with all this knowledge? Folks, they've shown us in the past that the more knowledge and power that we give to them, they use it towards their agenda, which has no good expectations for the populace of humanity. I mean, if you think about it right now, we are at the most a human being has ever had any kind of significant data collected on them, on any of us at any time in all of created history. Since Adam and Eve, this is the most data consuming project of the entire world. I mean, look at the LA schools and the smiling, smirking little Bill Gates there. He's a little weasel. Health Pass now required for children to enter schools. Bill Gates' Microsoft has partnered with Los Angeles Unified School District to implement Daily Pass for all students to gain access to campus, proving that they don't have COVID, despite the data showing that children have a minuscule chance of getting it. So yet they're still putting these little tags, these digital tags, on every single human being right now. And this just isn't about our daily lives, like going to school. What if you want to take a vacation and take your kids to Disneyland or Disney World? Well, Disney World has trialing its first facial recognition at the Magic Kingdom. Disney has found utility in facial recognition to control the entry and exit from Disney World, even amidst outcries of privacy-minded citizens. When you buy their products and merchandise, you become a product for collection of data and marketing. That is what This is all about you won't be able to buy or sell. It doesn't matter who you are, rich or poor, free or bond, great or small. Unless you receive the mark of the beast, you will not be cooperating in the system they are building up around us. The phoenix has already risen, I believe, from the ashes. And we are watching what is going to happen now. They're building it up super quickly. Technocracy is going to dehumanize all human beings into digital assets. And this is the big race card that they're playing right now. And mind you, I am a firm believer in that all of us, all human beings, okay, there are giants and Nephilim and Rephaim. These were created between humans and fallen angels, and you get these monstrosity of people who were like 32 feet tall back in biblical days. This really took place. It was not just a story that you told your children from the Old Testament. You can't be a human racist. I think it's so idiotic and stupid. It just doesn't matter. You cannot be a human being and be racist. Now you can be racist against the Nephilim because they're like half angel and half human. If you choose to want to go that route, which I don't think that's a good idea myself, is that you can be a racist at that point, because then you're actually identifying difference in race itself. We are the same race. We are same human beings, folks. Okay, sorry about the rant. The WEF's Great Reset, aka Technocracy, and which is enthusiastically backed by global banks and corporations, intends to turn the citizens of the world into digital assets for the sake of management, control, and profit. That's the big word here. The key to the mark of the beast is buying and selling. Instead of being a human, you will be a blip on the blockchain, which will be used to micromanage you. This is not speculation. It is plainly stated across globalist documents all around the world and in many languages. Once a global ID system is in place, it will be tied to every move and purchase you make, along with every psychographic and physical aspect of your life, cradle to cradle. So let's talk about the cradle to cradle phrase. What does that really mean? Why cradle to cradle? Because DNA and genetic engineering will play a central role in the digitalization of the human race. You got to remember, folks, transhumanists don't want to be a human being anymore. They think that God is some fairy tale person. They have no idea who Yahweh is, or they outright reject Yahweh, the Father in heaven, and his Son. And at that point, is there blaspheming of the Holy Spirit happening to some of these people? Probably. I don't know if Ray Kurzweil went through this, but once they can start implanting human beings with microchips, with microprocessors, which are going to be on DNA scale. They are going to make these little micro robots, not just nanoparticles, not nano robots. These are going to be micro processors with their own little, it's just like a little cell, but it's a little computer inside of your body, and they are just going to rampantly run your life. That is why I believe that taking the mark of the beast will physically alter you as a human being, and you will no longer be genetically tied to the human race, which is why I think you will forever, you can't even say that I said a prayer and I'm saved. You can't even say that anymore, because once you're genetically altered from the image of God, which we were made, the whole plan of salvation falls apart right there. You just can't have it both ways. So make sure you are making preparations in your life right now. This year, I am buying containers and compost, and I am planting all of my seeds in the place where I live, and everything is getting planted. I am going to be buying a lot of local produced farm products that will be going into cans, or I will be freeze drying it, or hopefully eventually I will be able to get a deep freezer and be able to catch salmon and put it in there. You know, everything is going to go away so that when they decide to collapse the entire system at once, and it looks like they're really gearing up to do this, folks, the more you can plan for today, the less you will have to do tomorrow. Another thing I want to mention before I get off here is the Suez Canal blockage. This is going to hit product supply chains like crazy. So the cargo ship blocking the Suez Canal is holding up traffic that carries nearly $10 billion worth of goods every day. So a quick clearing of the logjam is key to limiting the economic fallout. Once you can drive all the nations to economic fallout, you basically can instill anything in order to give people back a semblance of normalcy, even though it won't be normal anymore, folks. I think we really need to get over this. What we once had as a human society, and it was literally the height of capitalism, you know, the whole idea of being able to have free commerce, and women were able to start businesses and not be persecuted. All of this is going to go away right now. It's all spiraling away. So please get prepared. So let's just talk about this real quick. 10% of all global trade flows through the 120-mile-long canal, which allows tankers, container ships to avoid long trips around the southern tip of Africa. The iconic shipping journal Lloyd's List estimates the goods worth at $9.6 billion pass through that canal every day. So Lloyd says about 5.1 billion of that traffic is westbound and 4.5 billion of it is eastbound. When it comes to shipping goods from Asia to Europe, there are virtually no alternatives such as rail or truck transportation. The blockage will delay a range of parts and raw materials for European products such as cotton from India for clothing, petroleum from the Middle East for plastics, and auto parts from China, and everything else we get from China. So food and products that you buy are starting to increase very, very dramatically. In some parts, I think I heard the other day that you could still go to the grocery store and buy a dozen eggs for 86 cents. And I was like, where is that? And somewhere out there on the East Coast, it's going to be to the point where the inflation, hyperinflation, is going to catch up with our decreasing ability to buy products. So not only are we going to be unable to buy the products, but the products that are being shipped are going to be so outside of our cost of living that we're not going to be able to buy them anymore. So your quality and way of life is going to change. We're already seeing it in minuscule amounts in our everyday lives. You know, instead of buying that little Starbucks coffee every day, we're putting that little $5 in our pocket and saying, no thanks, I'll hang on to it and I'll go buy some Folgers at the grocery store where I can purchase, you know, with my $5, need to throw in $5 more and you get a thing of Folgers coffee you can make, and you can make as many cups as you want, 32 even. And tying this all up to end this video, thanks for tuning in, thanks for staying with me, and thanks for giving your support and donations to this channel. I have big things in my mind that I want to do, not for this channel specifically, but what I want to do on alternative platforms where we're basically going to start going underground right now in order to talk with each other. The censorship has just begun to become huge. They're getting rid of the big ones first, and then they're going to start graveling through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So my time will come, and so will yours. And eventually we've got to find a place to all gather to. And so I'm really addressing that in my mind, and I'm trying to find those ways to get that in motion. So thank you so much. And I got to laugh because here we are yet again at the beginning of another new strain about to be unleashed on mankind. Another round of toilet paper shortages looms again as the global shipping containers crunch. So, folks, I know this is a terrible thing to think of, but you might want to be thinking of alternatives to your toilet paper consumption, because it may become also a thing of the past. So at this point, I really want everybody to know that there is still hope. Even though this is all very depressing and people can get really weighted down with all of this destructive news, and it's really destroying the daily life and those systems that we enjoy. You know, we have our little routines, and these are all being disrupted right now, and it's to bring on this greater peace that they think is going to be better for everybody, but it isn't. So I'm looking forward to, this is my hope. This is what gets me through my day. I always look to Yeshua HaMashiach, and I know he's coming very soon. The Messiah is coming very soon. It's not the Antichrist. It will be the Messiah. He will be in the clouds. All eyeballs will see him. The kingdom of God is the rule of God over his people in his creation, established through his Messiah, God the Father's Son. In this kingdom, which is present in the world through his believers, it is awaiting its fulfillment at the second coming of Christ. So the kingdom of God is very central to the biblical story of redemption. The story follows the narrative of the fall of Adam and Eve and the calling of the nation of Israel and the coming of the promised Messiah. When Yeshua came as the Messiah, he established God's kingdom in the new covenant through his death and resurrection, which we are all going to be partaking of, hopefully, this Passover season, which Passover begins Nisan the 14th, which will be on our Gregorian calendar. Saturday at sunset begins Passover, and that's where I will be taking all by my lonesome again the Passover meal and all of that, and taking communion with the Lord and setting a glass out for Elijah, because he's going to come too, folks. We got to watch for him as well. When Jesus comes as the Messiah, he will establish God's kingdom, the Father's kingdom, and they will reign over all nations, all peoples, and it will be the greatest time of peace for 1,000 years. People will know what it's like to breathe a sigh of relief and understand how to cherish those really beautiful moments. We don't get enough of that right now, and I realize that really hurts a lot of people. We don't get those small moments of where we can say, I can dwell upon this good thing, and it makes me feel all warm and good and fuzzy inside. No, it's literally, you're jumping from place to place to place to place and thinking all of these thoughts that you need to get done, and all of these new routines that have been added into your life. So that's why the Sabbath day is really important. So coming this Shabbat, before Passover begins, just relax, enjoy life, and realize that Yeshua came. He did what he was supposed to do. He's thrown down all of the rulers of the world, and now it's just a ticking time bomb until he claims, until that word goes out, that all the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Christ, of our God and his Messiah. Folks, it's going to happen. It's coming. We are looking forward to serving our King and looking forward to his return. I love you all. Shabbat Shalom. And have a blessed Passover and a week of unleavened bread. Spring cleaning is good for your house and your home, but spring cleaning inside is even better. Get rid of all those sins and transgressions and leavening products. Yahweh bless you all. I love you all. Maranatha, keep looking up. He is coming.